Hello, everybody. I am with Ascot today, Ministries, and today I am so excited to introduce you to Lucie Winborne. Lucie is amazing. We just love Lucie so much. Lucie actually has all the posts that go out with Ascot today. Lucie edits them for us, so she enhances our work. She makes us sound a little more grammatical than we are sometimes. She catches our mistakes, and she's just amazing. So we are so thankful for you, Lucie. And I just want to open up and just kind of introduce you like I did, and ask you a couple of questions so that our readers and our followers can get to know you, because they don't see you a lot. You're not out in the forefront. You're not writing a lot of posts for us and stuff, but you are involved with all of them. And so thank you for what you do for Ascot today. So anyway, I just want to first kind of ask you a little bit about how were you called to write and to edit?
Well, the call to write is funny. Somebody asked me about that not long ago. They said something about, oh, you evidently found your passion. And I said, well, I'm not even so sure that it's a passion because it's very difficult to write well. And it's not always that enjoyable. Sometimes it is. But the curious thing is, I said it wasn't that I found it. I think it found me, and why I don't know. There are some other writers in my family, but they were on the journalistic side. Whereas when I was 10 years old, for some reason, one evening I just got on a whim. I said, I think I'm going to write a story. And I sat down at my family's kitchen table and wrote a story which I wished very much had survived because it must have been hilarious. We're talking 45 years ago. I would love to know what I wrote. I have no idea. But I started writing short stories after that, and then went through a period where I didn't really write much of anything for years. And so I've never been one of those writers. I wish I was one of those writers who absolutely has this obsessive need to write and is very disciplined to do it every day. I'm unfortunately not. I think once I actually get into it, I'm okay, but I'll put it off as long as I possibly can at the same time, most of the time. So I would say it found me. I'm not really sure how. But now, as for editing, I think maybe that's just something you're born with.
Not me.
Well, and it's just there's this obsessive fault-finding eye that you have to have, and I'm one of those people who will find typos everywhere in the newspaper, on the internet, on a cereal box, you name it, I'll find it most of the time. Everybody misses some, but I just simply can't help myself. It's one of those things I just do because I can't help it. And so I guess that's some weird innate ability. But I enjoy it for a lot of reasons. I mean, I probably have. I think all editors must have a little bit of a control freak in them, that they just like to correct things. But in my case, it goes beyond that. Oh, I can't stand it when somebody does that, when somebody uses an apostrophe the wrong way. It actually goes beyond that. Well, I have a very strong heart for making writers look better if I'm able to do that, because I think they deserve that. I think their work deserves to be presented as professionally as possible. And that's very important to me, that you put your best printed self forward. So working with these ladies has given me the opportunity to make them sound better in some ways. Though, frankly, y'all don't need a whole lot of work. I mean, most of you write very well. I'm sorry, all of you do, really. And my work is kind of a sinecure. But it's just very important. Any client I work with at all, I feel very strongly about helping them look good on paper. And some of them, the writers I've worked with have not been a huge number, but at the same time, what's interesting is that they've run across a very broad spectrum of ability, from the two teenagers I've edited for who were writing their first novels, and one had never even taken a writing course in his life. So he needed coaching, basically, and mentoring, all the way to seasoned professionals like yourself and the other ladies at Ascot today who have been doing this for a while and who know how to really put sentence structures together. And so it's been fascinating to help a variety of people. It makes me feel good to do that.
Oh, well, you're such a blessing to all of us, and it's just amazing because sometimes I'll come back and I thought, now why didn't I think to put the sentence in that structure or that way? So yeah, we really thank you for what you do for us. So tell everybody a little bit how you met me and how you got involved with Ascot today.
I had to actually stop back and remember how we met, and I'm pretty sure it was through Tribe Writers.
It was.
Yes. And I believe I had put out a call. This is a couple of years ago when I was really just beginning to figure out that I wanted to move more in a eventually professional editing direction, and not just do it on the side as I had for so many years. And I put out a call to Tribe Writers and said, if anybody needs any help, I'm available. I can edit and proofread for you. And I believe you were one of those who answered the call. And that's how I got to proof your book, Joy Beyond, which I very much enjoyed. And it's sitting on my shelf right now, my signed copy, which, and what I remember is it was last winter. It was November or December, probably November, that you put out that email and you said, I've got this ministry and I could use some help with a bunch of things. And I looked down the list and I thought, oh, gee, she lives in South Carolina and I live in Florida and I can't help her address envelopes or do things like that. But then I saw you needed some help with editing and writing. And so I immediately shot off that email and said, oh, guess what, Brenda? I'm still in between day jobs, so I can help. And the rest is history. And I've been very happy to do it.
Oh, well, thank you. Like I said, you're amazing. We all love you so much. So, what do you like about working for Ascot Today Ministries?
There's several things. The thing that really stands out is the ladies have been so gracious. I know, because I'm a writer myself, I know how hard it is to put your work in somebody else's hands. And I have an editor myself, actually a couple of them now, but I certainly have an editor I've been working with for at least 3 years now who I've never even met in person. And we've talked on the phone one time. All our communications are done by email, but he has been wonderful to me. And I appreciate, he's not only an excellent writer, he's an excellent editor. And I trust him implicitly. He's always been kind. And but I know how it feels to this day. I've been working with this magazine for 3 years, and every article I send, there's still a little tiny piece of me that's a little bit apprehensive. Well, are they going to change something, or are they not going to like the angle I took? And so I fully understand what these ladies are doing to trust me with their work. And the fact that they've always been so unfailingly gracious is, I think, amazing compared to some stories I hear from other editors. They've just been incredibly kind about me making or suggesting, as I was trying to suggest rather than make changes. Another thing that I've enjoyed is that sometimes I've really learned from them. Several times in the past, I might be struggling with a particular issue that I haven't even mentioned to someone, and a blog post will come in for me to look at, and lo and behold, it's just was something I was thinking about that very week, and the timing is simply remarkable. And I would say the third thing is I like, even though I have not met any of them personally, it's nice to get a look inside their lives and inside their minds and certain things about them and what they've been through, and it's been very interesting learning about them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got some amazing writers, and so they all have stories of God's grace and how He's carried us all through stuff. So yeah. What do you like most about the writing and the editing part in general?
Oh my goodness. I'll tell you, there's a quote, and I'm not sure who said this. It may have been Dorothy Parker, it may have been someone else, but I always repeat this when somebody asks me this question, what's the best part about writing? I always say when it's over, which is there's that sense of relief that it's actually accomplished.
And you hit that publish button.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts, I think, or just when you, when I write fiction, which is actually not that often, but when I do write fiction, I think seeing characters take a turn that I never anticipated This happened with a novel I wrote during National Novel Writing Month a few years ago. And I would be driving along to work one day, and all of a sudden I would get a character insight pop into my head as if somebody just spoke it out loud in my car. And I would think, oh, that's why he did that. That's fun. Seeing your characters take things, take turns that you don't expect. So that part is fun and enjoyable. And sometimes the subject matter is fun. For example, I do celebrity profiles for the magazine I write for. Mm-hmm. And the first one I think I ever wrote was actually on Barbie. And that was an absolute hoot because I decided to take it as if she was a real person and approach it that way. And I had enormous fun with that. So, and the best part about editing, though, is feeling like I made somebody look a little bit better, even though they already looked good. I think of most of the authors I deal with as diamonds, and I just come along and flick a little cloth over them and polish them a little bit. That's how I look at the editing process for most of them.
Right now.
And believe me, I don't want to make it sound like I know everything about editing because I certainly don't. And I know I probably miss things, but if I can just apply just that little bit of a dust cloth and polish to make it shine a little bit more, that just gives me a feeling of satisfaction.
Well, we're totally grateful for you. So what is like one thing or two things that somebody might be surprised to know about you?
Well, I'm pretty conservative and live a very quiet life. However, about a decade ago, I went through a midlife crisis, and I decided when I felt like one was coming on, I was going to do one of two things. I had two choices, Brenda. I said I can either get depressed or I can have fun with this, and I chose the latter. So I used it as the perfect excuse to do all the crazy things I wanted to do for years but never had the nerve to do, because that's what you're supposed to do when you have a midlife crisis. And so I highly recommend this approach. And a couple of the things I did, one, I went skydiving, and that was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I still talk about it 10 years later. And the other one, a lot of people don't know this, but some do, is I finally went and got a tattoo, which I've been wanting to do since I was a teenager. So at 45, I got my first tattoo. And but I don't think most people, when I tell people that, they're very surprised, believe me.
Well, my son would love you. He's got several of them. So. And I'm sure we've got a writer or two on the team that has some. So.
I'm sure we do too. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with our readers to get to know you any better?
I can't think of a thing. I think I've already probably talked way too long.
Oh, well, you're awesome. Well, how can somebody find you if somebody were to want to get in touch with you, or maybe they needed to see if they could hire you for something? How could someone get in touch with you?
Well, my website is almost done. I do have a designer working on that, and that will be done soon. Right now, they could go through my blog website. That's called Postcards from My Head. Mm-hmm. And they could go to that or find me on Facebook. And absolutely, I would send me a message, and I would absolutely love to work with someone new. I'm open for business.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lucie. Again, this is Lucie Winborne, and she is our editor at Ascot Today. And so we're so grateful for you, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a blessed day. And so goodbye, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.